You have found what lights you up. I'm your host, Sunny the Life Coach, and I'm here because I see you searching for something or someone out there to help you feel better. Something to take away the pain that you're feeling, the inadequacies. I know all of the things that happen in life can leave you feeling empty. Your search is over. This podcast is all about finding your own freedom and power to love yourself enough to shine in the ways you were always meant to, the ways in which you are already fully capable of. If you're ready for some real talk, some serious truth bombs, and a few F-bombs, you are in the right place. Let's do this. Let's get lit. Hey there, and welcome to episode 54. In my last episode, I introduced you to my high vibe friend, Christine Rizzo. If you missed it, you might want to check that one out first, although it's not necessary if you already have an understanding of how universal laws work. And there is so much more to those universal laws than just the law of attraction, by the way. Just as a refresher for you, Christine is a certified manifesting coach, author, speaker, and now podcaster. We're definitely going to hit on that point right away. She has helped many women learn how to step into their power by tapping into their energy and by taking responsibility for their own happiness instead of depending on others to create that for them. She helps her clients to let go of their beliefs that aren't from love and to align their power with the universe so they can attract everything they have always wanted. As I mentioned in the previous episode, I wanted to have a follow-up conversation with Christine because I just wasn't able to get to some of the topics that I wanted to cover. I do think this worked out perfectly, where part one, if you will, turned out to be more of a high-level introduction to these concepts, and now we get to go deeper, especially in the area of relationships. I think that one is really important because we've all had experiences with others that we're either attracted to or repelled by, even if it's not the whole person, but just a part of them. Certain things they might do, for example, that just rub you wrong. We're going to get into why that happens, really getting in tune with your signals and listening to your inner goddess. So let's get right to it because there's a lot of ground to cover and I can't wait to share it with you today. Welcome back, Christine Rizzo.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Me too. We're going to do a round two because we just didn't get to everything that we wanted to cover last time. And I want to clarify that these two episodes combined even aren't intended to cover A to Z of all things manifesting. It's just there's so much to it. That's why you coach on it. That's why you have an entire practice surrounding this concept. So it's not like we're trying to teach everything, but there are just so many highlights that we can touch on and so many things that I wanted to get to the last time that we weren't able to. So this is part two. And for our listeners' awareness, as you know, I've been building up this interview with Christine for a little bit because we actually recorded the first part several weeks ago. And now we are here for the second round of this topic. And in between that time, Christine did a thing. You did a
Yes,
thing. What
I
did you do?
did. I
Tell us.
did. I started my own podcast called The Manifesting Formula. And very, very exciting. So it's all tips and secrets to really learning how to manifest. And we start from the way beginning. So it is kind of for beginners, though, if you are familiar with manifesting, you can listen to it as well. It's not like you can't, because there's always so much to learn from manifesting. But we start from the way beginning, and I'm on episode 3. The
Mhm.
4th one will be coming out next week, of course. And yeah, it's so exciting. It's like I never realized how much I would love creating this content for others.
Isn't it great?
It's so
Yeah,
good, Rachel. It's so good. I love it. I'm like
I know.
addicted.
I
I'm
know
really
it's
addicted.
it is so fun. So I'm so glad that you're doing that because, you have so much to say and so many messages to share that doing it in just little, like I say, bite-sized chunks every week is so good. I definitely highly recommend Christine's podcast. I will link up to that in the show notes for sure. It is fantastic. Oh, now
Thank
getting
you.
back to, yes, of course, getting back to the things that we wanted to say but weren't able to say last week. Um, let's talk about emotions a little bit more because for those in the audience who listen to other podcasts by other life coaches, we tend to talk a lot about feeling your emotions and about how you need to feel all of them, including the negative emotions. And I know we touched on that last time, but can we go a little deeper about how you mean feel it and then let go?
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, so as coaches, we do tell our clients that they need to feel their emotions, which is very true. You want to feel what your emotion feels like, because we do realize, and the person realizes it themselves as well once they feel the emotion through them, that they're really not going to die from feeling the
Mhm.
emotion. Most people are scared, are scared to feel their emotions because they're worried about what it's going to bring to them, right? So once you feel it and it goes through you and you realize, okay, it wasn't so bad, it's more about, when it comes to manifesting, not to stay in it. So when you understand when something is happening in your life, that you start to feel an emotion and you already know what that feels like, you don't have to stay in it, knowing, okay, I'm going to feel a discomfort, and that's okay. It all depends on what you're going through, if you want to stay in it or not. If there's a death, of course, you want to mourn. You want to feel, the sadness. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just learning to not stay in it for a long period of time, because when we do, that's when the universe is only bringing back to you more situations, circumstances, events, people that are on that same level of what you're emitting out. So that's on that same energy that you're emitting out, because that's all the universe can bring you, is whatever you're thinking about and whatever you're feeling. And when you're really feeling an emotion, that's when the manifesting comes to you quicker.
Mhm. So, two things from that response that, that come to mind for me are our thoughts, right? If we don't want to stay in an emotion for too long, however, there are certain circumstances such as grief and mourning the death of a loved one and that kind of thing that of course we understand is going to take time, but for other emotions that are quote unquote negative in nature and they don't feel good to feel, um, there are two things. One of them is that we keep replaying the same thoughts that are creating those negative emotions over and over. Like we stay stuck. We stay stuck there. That's one thing that I'm thinking. And the second thing is that you said we're scared. And last time you mentioned we're scared to feel the negative emotions. And last time you mentioned that fear is the lowest vibe emotion we can possibly have, right?
Yes, yes.
So if we fear feeling something like, I don't know, disappointment, then that's actually a greater impact than feeling into the disappointment.
Yes. Yes. It's better
right?
to feel the disappointment, like you're saying,
Mm-hmm.
than to fear the disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
Because the disappointment is not going to give you what fear would give you,
Right.
right? Because it is the lowest vibration. And when we're in fear, we are out of alignment
Mm.
with our true self and with our creator, which is that of love. Because fear is the opposite of love.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're in fear, that is a signal from the universe, from your creator, from your higher self,
Mm-hmm.
as it's all one,
Mm-hmm.
to pay attention and to realize this doesn't feel good. I'm not in alignment with my true self. I need to come out of this because I'm only going to bring more situations and more things to fear
Mm-hmm.
into my life.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like once you open that door for fear to come in, then you start applying it to even more and more.
Yeah. And when we're fearing, we're not trusting. So
Mm-hmm.
that's when you fear, you don't trust, that you don't believe, you don't trust in your creator that everything is going to be okay. That's where fear comes from. You're out of control, right? Your thoughts are out of control. You're fearing and you're not trusting that the universe is going to take care of you or that God's going to take care of you,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is that you believe,
Mm-hmm.
right? But it's it's about learning to trust that you're always going to get taken care of, that the universe always has your back, right?
Mm-hmm.
That God is always going to take care of you. That
Yeah. So is this all, again, just for my own refresher too? Is this all part of the law of allowing? Is that where that trust comes in? That you allow those emotions, you allow others to be who they are and say what they do, you allow and you trust?
yes, yes, it's learning to allow, learning to allow the universe to take care of you, for God to take care of you, learning to allow others to be and do and act and behave however they choose to, because it's not your business,
Mm-hmm.
and allowing the emotions. It's all right. Allowing, remember that rock I gave you, I painted for you? What
Yes.
was the word on that rock?
Allow.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's all about allowing. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the hardest law to actually be able to do.
Yeah, because allowing other people to be who they are and say what they say, ooh, that's a tough one.
Oh,
Because
I'm right there.
I have some expectations for how other people should behave,
Mm-hmm.
and how they should show up for me,
Yes.
right? Because if they show up for me in a certain way, then that means that I am loved, right?
Yes. Yes.
That's the way
Mm-hmm.
we think about it. That's the way our human brains think about things, is that we are loved or we are cared for, based on the way that other people show us. They have to show us.
Well, that's because of why. That's because really that's how you are toward others, right?
Mhm.
So it's we expect others to behave a certain way towards us, or we want them to because that's how we would behave toward them. But
Mhm.
in reality, that's actually not how life works. And that is why we keep getting upset and our expectations are never fulfilled, because we are wanting them, right? To,
Mhm.
I mean, people are who they are and they're not like us. And
Mhm.
it's learning to accept that others are not like us. They're their own people and they're going to behave and act however they choose to because they can.
Yeah, because they can and because they will. You
That's
know,
right.
we can't, I appreciate you saying that they're not like us, meaning, get out of your own head and your own thoughts and stop thinking or projecting that you can, like, manipulate, for lack of a better word,
That is
what other
exactly.
what other people might think.
Yes.
you
Yes.
know?
And I always tell my clients, there's no right or wrong.
Right.
There just is. What one person does not mean that that's wrong. It may not be right for you, but it's not wrong. It's not wrong for them. It's right for them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do doesn't mean that it's right for them. It might be right for us. But so it's really learning to understand that it's not our business what other people do.
Mm-hmm.
Our only business is our own. And so many people are in other people's heads,
Yes.
wanting
Yes.
to control them. I do that a lot with my husband.
Yeah. Yeah. Husbands are good for that. I
I
mean,
know.
yeah, that's what we do. We
Mhm.
do it to those that are closest to us anyway. We create those expectations and we try to get up in their brains
And we
and
never
their minds.
win.
No.
It's like, and also too, we're not letting those people be authentic to who they are.
Right.
Could you imagine like someone telling you like you can't behave this way or what you're doing is wrong or what it would be like, excuse me, don't tell me what to do. Like, but we do it all the time.
I know.
I
Isn't
know.
it crazy? Just, kind of turn that around. So how do you turn that around? How do you start to come to that place of allowing? Is there some kind of mantra that you speak, or is there some kind of reminder or sentence that you say in the beginning when you're first trying to get the hang of letting go of trying to control what other people think or do or say?
I think it's more you just need to, as you're in the middle of maybe telling someone what to do or, you know, um, being upset because they're not doing what you want to do. I think you just have to kind of back away and just be like, it's not my choice. It's not my business. And I need to let go. It's constantly reminding yourself to let go of trying to control others,
Hmm.
So um, it's not easy. I mean, we know that. This is why the third law, the law of allowing, is the most difficult and why we wind up never being able to get there. It's like it's a constant lesson, a
Yeah.
learning lesson. Some people have been able to accomplish that, like, Jesus, Gandhi,
Hmm.
Mother Teresa. Like there's
Buddha.
some, yeah, Buddha,
Yeah.
exactly. So those are the prophets that were able to fully allow, and like a lot of monks,
Hmm.
they're able to do that as well. But it's a lot of it's practice. It's constant practice,
Yeah.
and it's letting go of ego.
Ooh, ego.
Mm.
Yeah, tell me about ego.
Oh, ego. Oh, I call her the inner mean girl.
Hmm.
Right. So
See,
ego is,
I call her the inner mean bitch, so I'm like,
well, there you go.
I
The
don't mince
same.
words with her.
The same. Yeah. So
Yeah.
ego gets in our way all the time.
Hmm.
She tries to control. She wants things her way. She is a bitch,
Hmm.
right? She's a little brat. She's our inner child
Yeah.
that lives in our subconscious,
Hmm.
and she just wants things her way. And so ego gets in the way all the time when people don't do what we want them to do, right?
Hmm.
Or when you have to win in an argument,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
You have to be right. That's
Yeah.
all ego. Or you're like, why did you did this to me on purpose? Or like,
Mm.
meanwhile, it really has nothing to do with you, why people do things, but we always make it about ourselves. That is all ego.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
How about the law of deliberate creation? I think you touched on that the last time we talked. And I feel like that could use a little more expansion. And it's along the lines of you can't just think your your desires into existence. For example, and I think we talked about your book at the time. writing your book, you had to do things. You couldn't just like think about, I'm going to have a best-selling book, I'm going to be an author. You had to actually take some steps to do that. But I want to go a little further with that today, in that, maybe going further into how we need to do, and having an awareness that there is a balance between being and doing, and yet not getting hung up on the how. Because a lot
Mhm.
of times we don't do anything because we don't yet know how to do it.
Mhm.
And you said that when we ask how, we are not trusting. So,
Correct.
can you help me understand that just a little bit better, or help us?
Yeah, so before we go into the law of deliberate creation, I do want to add that the first law, which is the law of attraction, is the most important law.
Hmm.
And if you cannot understand that law, you cannot move further
Okay.
into the law of deliberate creation or the law of allowing. So you have to truly understand how the law of attraction works,
Okay.
which we already know is through our thoughts. And it's really learning and understanding and believing that your thoughts are creating what you are bringing into your life. And so that's why it's super important to understand that, because the law of deliberate creation is then knowing that you're able to manipulate your thoughts to then attract what you're wanting.
Hmm.
So it's bringing thought, you know, consistent thought of what you're wanting
Hmm.
by thinking about that all the time, but also then bringing emotion into it,
Hmm.
right? Feeling. So it's about feeling what it would be like to already have what you're wanting. So you
Right.
have to feel those emotions every day. And we talked about in the last episode the four ways to do that, right?
Yes.
And so, like you said, it stops when we question. So the minute you question and you don't believe, because it's about having faith and believing that you have the power to create.
Hmm.
You are the creator.
Hmm.
And when you don't believe in that or have full faith, you are stopping the process. And when you question, how is this going to come? When
Hmm.
you're stopping the process as well, because you're immediately putting thought into what you're not wanting. And that's going straight to the universe, the
Hmm.
question. And the universe can only give you what you think about.
Okay, so let's say that I do something, I take some action, and that action does not result in what I've been thinking, what I've been practicing, what I've been feeling. And, instead of sitting there and wondering why and when and spinning around, I try to do something. I try to take an action that maybe I think might get me there, but it doesn't happen.
So then you
What
would
did I
take a
do
different
wrong?
action. You would
Okay.
need to take a different action.
Hmm.
Sometimes the action that you're taking isn't always going to get you your result,
Hmm.
right? So it's realizing, okay, this action isn't working. I need to take another action. But what happens is when you're feeling those feelings of wanting what you're wanting and you're really feeling that every day, the universe is then bringing more circumstances and situations that are on that same frequency level,
Hmm.
okay, to you for you to create what you're wanting.
Hmm.
So the universe will always bring things into your space, into your life. It's just that you have to jump on them when the
Hmm.
universe brings them to you. You can't question, is
Yeah.
that right? Because once you question, like we said, you're pushing it away. You just have to say, oh, the universe brought me this. I need to take action now.
Hmm.
It's trusting.
And that trust, is that coming from your intuition? Is that coming from your inner goddess, as you call her? So you've got an inner mean bitch, and you also have an inner goddess, right?
Yes. Yes.
And
Your inner
so,
God.
so your inner goddess is what you label our intuition.
Yes.
So when that comes up, and it doesn't always present itself in words Sometimes it's a feeling. Sometimes it's something that you feel when you see something or you hear something or you meet someone or you whatever. Something happens, as you said, a circumstance happens. You get this feeling. Is that your intuition telling you, jump now? This is the opportunity I am presenting to you. Don't question it. Don't think about it. Do it.
Yes, it's that knowing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you just know,
Mm-hmm. I
you
sure
just
do.
feel it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
just feel it and you know it feels right and it
Mm-hmm.
feels good. Yes, that is your intuition. That's your higher self. It's our
Mm-hmm.
connection to the universe. It's your intuition telling you you need to move forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes though, your
Mm-hmm.
little inner mean girl will come in, your inner mean bitch, right? Will
Mm-hmm.
come in with a little fear. Is this the right thing? Maybe you
Mm-hmm.
shouldn't, right? To
Mm-hmm.
stop you because a lot of times you're out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
When these things are coming into your life, it's not always a comfortable situation for you.
And your
It's
ego
not
is trying to keep you safe too. I mean, that's also
correct.
part of it. It's even that primitive response of, I want to keep you safe, safe from pain, safe from emotional pain. If you fail, it's going to hurt.
Yeah, it might be embarrassing.
Right.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes. And really, there's nothing to really fear when it comes to any type of emotions, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just realizing that you're not going to die from the feeling that you might go through,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
But it
Mm-hmm.
will help you grow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
going through those emotions. And the more you go through them,
Yeah.
the easier it gets.
Yes. And we've had conversations about failure before too, how I don't think either one of us really like to use that word. Sometimes there are better choices to think about in terms of just language, because, failure feels like such uh, even though there's no right or wrong, it feels so wrong. Like
But
we
it
have.
feels wrong. Why does it feel wrong? Because we were taught that.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. From school, it's like,
Yes.
you fail, fail, fail. I know. We've been taught, we've been conditioned. We've
Yeah,
been
so that's just a
conditioned.
belief, right?
Yes.
That we can learn to let go because it's just a sentence. A belief
Mm-hmm.
is just a sentence told to
Mm-hmm.
us over and over again. You
Mm-hmm.
know that.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have to believe that. So here's the thing, and I tell my clients this all the time, and I know you do as well. If you have a belief or a thought that is not from love, it's a fucking lie,
Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
And so if you believe that failure, just the word failure, is not a good word,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just like people think the word fuck is bad. I
Yeah.
mean,
I don't know who those people
really,
are. I don't understand.
it's just a sentence enhancer. I mean, it shows
True.
yeah, it just gives you you're enhancing that word, that next word, that sentence or whatever to show that passion. I love that word.
I do
I
too.
like say it all the time.
It's such a versatile word. It's a
Yes.
verb. It's a noun. It's a whatever, it's fun. It's fun
It's
stuff.
whatever you want it to be,
An
right?
adjective, mostly an adjective. Yes.
But we're like taught all these crazy stupid beliefs
Mm-hmm.
that are, that we're told, which are all lies
Mm-hmm.
practically. And so, I mean, is failure really that bad of a word? Okay, so you're going to fail. I mean, I remember in the beginning, we both talked about it like a year ago or so, more
Mm-hmm.
than that,
Mm-hmm.
that we didn't like that word. And now I've just come to like, you know what? You're going to fall, you're going to get back up, and you're going to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you might fail at things, but it only helps you to grow. You just have to keep getting back up.
Yeah, but during those, two things during that conversation, we also talked about maybe thinking of it as a detour, right? Or even a roadblock, even saying, okay, this isn't the right road. Let's,
Yes,
change paths, or a detour that, okay,
a
if this isn't
detour.
the right direction, same road, different direction, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that's one way to look at it. And then another thing, that it's, if keeping the word failure is okay for you, and I don't feel as visceral about it as I did when we first had that conversation. I was going through some things at the time. I did not like that word, but having had experience working, as a contractor for a Department of Education at one point, not the US level, but at a state level. There were some really great minds in, in that collective that talked about failures as learning lessons,
I
right?
was just going to say that.
That's what they are.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's what they are. Now, the institutions teach us that we can't fail too much, or we will have to repeat an entire grade, or, we lose our money if we're in higher education or something like that. We will lose something, you know? But ultimately, every time a failure is simply a plan that didn't work out exactly the way that you thought it would.
Right. Yes.
That's
It's
all it
just like you
is.
said, a roadblock. So,
Mm-hmm.
or, right, it's a detour, it's a roadblock, which happens to be a lesson as well.
Yeah.
Every time there's a block in, right, the road, or, in when it comes to your life, and
Mm-hmm.
it's taking you on a detour of where you thought you were going,
Yes.
that's really just a lesson to learn from. They're
Mm-hmm.
all lessons. Our whole entire life is filled with lessons.
That's the part that I love. That is the part that I love, is that living this life with a learning mind. Oh, that feels like I'm alive.
Yes. And when something happens, you always question, or you can, what can I learn from that?
Mm-hmm.
What just happened that I need to learn? What is the lesson I need to take in here? So we
Mm-hmm.
don't keep repeating them, because
Mm-hmm.
we keep repeating the same lessons when we don't learn from them. So you want to try to learn from, those lessons that are happening in your life so you can move forward to the next lesson.
Love it. I love it. All right, let's come back to other people and relationships. And even, I think that intuition, that intuitive part of us comes into play a little bit here too, with where I want to go. There are some people that come into your lives who are absolutely amazing and you click right away. There are other people that come into your lives that for whatever reason, they just give you this feeling, this oh, I don't even know how to describe it right now, but it's like something isn't right. You're getting the signals that something is wrong. Again, I know there is no wrong, but you get a signal that there is something about this person, what they're doing, that just doesn't sit well with you.
Yeah, it could be their energy that
Hmm.
is not feeling right with you.
Hmm.
It could, I mean, it, a lot of times it all depends on, is it an energy or a feeling that you don't want to be in their presence, or is it a person in your life that has been in your life?
Yeah.
Those are the lessons we need to learn from, right? Those people that are in our life, that have been in our life
Hmm.
for some time, and if they anger us,
Yeah.
those are then the lessons. But if you come in contact with someone that you just know instinctively, this is not right,
Hmm.
like, that is your intuition
Hmm.
telling you, like, that person. Go ahead.
Well, I think what just popped into my brain was that we talk about even like going through the coaching, you know, uh, courses and the certification process. It's about like you will either attract or repel, right? So sometimes, and I think that was the word that I wasn't able to come up with a moment ago. Like maybe that was the feeling of being repelled, right, by someone. Now, I've also had that feeling. So let's talk about the like relationship aspect. I have a relationship with someone, I have been attracted, and then suddenly that repel comes up. It's like maybe I have felt like there was, a connection for years, and then it's no longer there. And not only is it no longer there, but I'm repelled.
You're repelled. Did you ask yourself, like, why?
Well, yeah. I mean, of course, my thoughts on that are she changed.
Well, we all do change
Yeah, we do.
and we grow, right?
Yeah.
And some of us don't grow in the time frame that like you might be growing,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
And it's not that you don't like that person anymore. It's just that you're growing away from them. And there's nothing wrong with that. It
Right.
happens. It totally happens. You're just on two different, like, I don't want, well, I guess wavelengths in a way. You're just in two different places.
I've
And go ahead.
Well, I have given it a lot of thought, and what I kind of came up with is that um, this is not a path I want to follow anymore. I'm over here on this path, right?
Hmm.
I mean, I'm just not there anymore. And to your point, that's okay. I don't,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
Yeah, that's totally okay.
there was a period where I was feeling like almost a a bit of grief over it,
Hmm.
but now I'm like, yeah, this just isn't that's not where I want to be anymore. It was great a couple of years ago. It was great. And now I'm over here, she's over there, and it's all good. And I don't
It
need to
is
be
all
over
good.
there anymore. And I don't need to
Yeah.
force myself to be over there anymore just because I had this loving relationship once.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. And you're going to have many loving relationships with other people, right? And I really truly believe that people are in our lives for reasons and people come and go
Mhm.
and they're all lessons. Like, so when you were friends with her, I'm
Mhm.
not saying you're not friends with her, but when you had that relationship with her,
Mhm.
you were learning things from her and
Yeah.
she was learning from you.
Mhm.
And now that's okay. And you have moved on now
Mhm.
and you're moving in a direction spiritually or whatever it may be
Mhm.
in where you're attracting more like-minded people,
Mhm. And repelling the ones that aren't,
and that's
right?
okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing too. It's like that this is why I'm happy to go here with these topics on the podcast because if that isn't for you, then that's fine. Just as you
Mhm.
mentioned about your podcast, if that content, if those topics are not for you, that's fine.
Yeah, it's not for
This is
everyone.
yeah, this is what I'm here for. I'm here for this.
Hmm.
This is the path that I'm traveling. So, hey, come join me. It's fun. It's fun stuff. If you don't want to, that's cool too.
Yeah, not everybody is going to be attracted to us, right?
Right.
And that's something that I always put out, like, um when I'm meditating, not every single day, but I will attract my people always.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Just like you are attracting your people.
Yeah.
That's just how it works. We attract the people that are attracted to us from our energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the people that are put in our lives for a reason. And, for example, the ones that just little things that they do. So you love them, you have a great relationship, but just little things that they do just really get under your skin.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I had, let's talk about that and what that means. I know what I think it means, and I want to hear you, give an explanation for what that is. For example, let's say I have a really, really good friend, and I absolutely love everything about her, and she just embodies everything I would, love to be myself, except for one thing. She is very insecure behind the scenes and she's constantly worried about what everyone is thinking about her. And she's always asking me what I think he thinks or she thinks about her and blah, 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 and just on and on and on. And it drives me crazy. That one thing, that one thing. Why does that bother me so much?
I don't know. Ask yourself, why does it bother you?
Hmm.
My
Well,
coaching's coming in.
No, what I came to the conclusion of, the reason that it bothered me so much is that all she was doing was she was my mirror. She was my mirror, and in every way, it was I felt aligned with it. And I think this is a nice segue into alignment. In every way, I felt aligned with it, except for that one way, and it bothered me. And I think after really having sat with it for a long time and really having looked deep within myself as to what that meant, is that was my intuition saying, I want you to take a good look at that because you have that inside of you too. You just aren't verbalizing it.
Yes. Yes, yes, yes.
Yay!
That is
Yay. Do I
exact.
get a prize for that? Do
Yes,
I
you
get like
do.
a gold star?
That is exactly why we wind up not liking certain characteristics of someone else or something that bothers us about them is
Mm-hmm.
because deep inside you are exactly that person as well, or you have those characteristics
Mm-hmm.
in you that you don't want to admit or
Mm-hmm.
that you don't want to see.
Don't want to
But
see it.
but that is exactly why they bother you. It bothers you why they're that way.
I think that's important to bring up. I think that's important to bring to awareness is that when you get that feeling inside of you, that there is something in yourself to explore.
Yes, definitely. It's it's exactly like a mirror, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you love all these qualities about her because those are your qualities as well. You know, you have those in you as well.
Mm,
And
mm,
when you don't like something about someone,
mm-hmm.
that's inside of you as well. We don't like to admit that, or we don't
Right.
even want to see it. We're like, what
No,
are you talking about? There's no
no,
way,
no,
right?
no. And that, yeah, that, I mean, honestly, for years, this went on where I kind of battled that one thing. And I kept thinking if she would just stop that, then then I would not be bothered anymore.
Then I would not
would
be bothered
I would
anymore.
not be bothered anymore if she would stop. If she would behave the way that I expect her to behave. And that means don't say those things. That's ridiculous. I mean, come on. I don't know what anybody else thinks. I don't know, you know?
Mm-hmm. 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 I
Uh
have a friend. It's kind of like, so like I have a friend that's extremely insecure.
mhm.
And, you know, it does, see, like, I'm just giving the example. It doesn't bother me in any way because I don't feel that way about myself.
Yeah.
Right. So she can be as much of that. I mean, I try to coach her on it, but, like,
Yeah.
but that's who she is. I don't feel that way at all about myself. It doesn't bother me. I get more annoyed over things that are like, um, people telling other people what to do, right? But meanwhile, it bothers me because I sometimes do the same thing. I don't want
Yeah.
to see it and admit it, but I do. It's a little control issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mother used to bother me so much for years, like years ago, because she's very controlling. But I learned to let a lot of that go because I had to work on me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it doesn't bother me as much anymore.
So, do you have that choice then when you are in relationships, you are in friendships, and of course, you're always going to be in your family relationships? I mean, there's always going to be some form of a relationship there, even if you don't have interaction with them. There's still something there, and if nothing less than your history, or if nothing more than that. Um, I want to talk about being out of alignment with other people. And I guess what I was trying to say was you have a couple of choices. You can either decide to, as you did with your friend, to just not even be bothered by it because you don't have that characteristic, so what she does is not affecting you. You make that decision. Or you can decide, as I did with one of my relationships, and say, I'm on a different road now. That's just it. We're just not on the same road anymore. Am I
Mm.
missing anything else? I mean, is that what that feeling of out of alignment is telling you? Is that, there's a choice to be made, or
Well, I think when you're out of alignment within your body, like you're out of alignment with through your emotions and when it
Mhm.
just doesn't feel right. So that is your signal from the universe, from God, our creator, she's telling you this doesn't feel right. You need to change your thinking. So you need to change your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you can change your thoughts and be okay with not staying friends with someone, but right? But not feeling that guilt or not feeling upset or sad. It's because we're always out of alignment when we're trying to change other people, right? It doesn't feel
Okay.
good.
Mm-hmm.
When we're not allowing, when we're, um, you know, just it's more about being out of alignment is really from your thoughts.
It's more about coming back to you. It's more about
Correct.
when you are having those feelings, when you are having those pains, those signals, if you will, those are messengers that you need
Mhm.
to listen to. And
Yes.
it's something in you that you need to
Yes.
do. Now, I kind of just skipped over that part. What you do with that afterward is, of course, that's where your choice comes in. That's entirely your choice. But you
Correct.
first need to go inside and find what is within you and your own control.
Yes. And come to peace with and realizing I'm having these signals for a reason because I'm not aligned with love.
Mm, thank you for bringing it back to love. And I think this is a good point in which to kind of just tie a bow on this lovely package of manifesting, and how all of these things are so intertwined in being able to create the life you desire and being able to allow the universe to provide for you exactly what you want or better.
Exactly. And it is all through love. That is how we manifest. It's manifesting, your desires like you just mentioned. You when you are creating and manifesting what you're wanting, you have feelings of love, of excitement, of, I mean, we're here, we're meant to create, we're meant to live abundantly, we're meant to have fabulous lives
Mm-hmm.
because we all deserve to live that way. And it's through love that you're manifesting, that you're creating, that you're attracting. And when you truly understand and believe that you deserve that, that's when you're able to bring into your life what you're wanting. So many people don't feel or believe that they deserve to have what they think they want,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But it's all about loving yourself enough to understand that you are your creator and you can have whatever you want in this life as long as you believe
And trust
and trust.
and
Well,
allow.
believe, yeah,
Yeah.
right?
All
That's
those
trusting.
things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yes, it
Yeah,
is. And loving. Okay.
loving.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're here
All of
to
those
love and
things.
we're here to create. Love
All
and
of those
create.
things. But I
Yeah.
love, I love the knowing. I love knowing that, to really listen to my signals and understand that it's all connected. It's all
Mm-hmm.
connected, and know that there are so many opportunities that are provided for me every day to learn.
Every day. Oh, yeah.
Every
Every
day.
day we learn. It's
Every day.
beautiful.
It is.
I know. It's a
I love
beautiful
it.
thing. Yeah. And just learning, right? This is what's so important, learning from those lessons so we don't keep attracting
Mm-hmm.
the same lessons.
Yeah.
It's yeah. You want to learn other lessons, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get that growth mindset going and all of that
Exactly.
happy stuff.
Yes.
All right. Anything else you want to share? Did we cover everything?
I
Everything we possibly can, and just kind of.
I think so. I mean, as we said before, if anyone's interested in listening to my podcast, The Manifesting Formula, you will learn lots of tips and secrets to manifesting each week and to learn how to create the correct way.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, to manifest the correct way.
Love it.
So, yeah, it's all good.
Thank you so, so much. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for having
Love,
me.
love. We're going to end on love today. Have a
Yes.
good one, everyone.
Bye.
How great was that? Talk about everyone coming into your life for a reason. I'm so grateful that Christine is in mine. I truly am. Her energy just emits so much light. Really. I do encourage you to check out her book, Unleash Your Inner Goddess, and her new podcast, The Manifesting Formula, if you want to know more. Everything is linked for you in the show notes. Her podcast specifically, I absolutely love because she really breaks down the concepts of manifesting into short clips of wisdom, like 15 minutes or less, most of them so far. I have listened to other podcasts on this topic, and honestly, most of them have so many ads that I end up getting annoyed by them. And Christine isn't doing any of that. She's getting right to the meat of what you need to know, and it's truly so damn good. She's giving it to you from her heart, from her soul. It's specifically for beginners. So if any of the content in this episode spoke to you and you want to know more, check her out. Here's what I really want you to know. With every fiber of your being, you have so much power that you likely haven't even tapped into. I want you to imagine what your life could be like if you did tap in. How amazing could it be? How amazing could you be? I highly encourage you to not wait one more minute to light up and shine on.